shares. Deryck, let's also just touch on Capitec. That stock closing at 148 Rand today, down 2/3%. And of course, last week, the news that they are going to do a rights issue to the tune of 1 billion Rand to expand, particularly in Africa. Do you celebrate the move?
I think it is quite a nice expansionary move from Capitec. They've really done fantastically well. I think one of the best performing shares on the stock market over a 3-year period. And if you just look at their strategy going forward, at these prices of 149 Rand plus minus, it definitely fetches some very high PE ratios. Fundamentals are quite full at this price. So, you know, one could argue, is it an opportunity or a bargain hunting opportunity at 125 Rand? And do you believe in their expansionary policy going forward? It's a little bit high risk, but I think what they've done and what they've proved to the market over the last 2 to 3 years has given them the investor support base that could take them a lot further. So
you like this one, even at 148 Rand, isn't it a little rich?
It is extremely rich. Don't get me wrong, but I think that, you know, what you must remember, and chatting to someone over the weekend put it quite well, where there are stocks that are listed in the market, and some stocks people will just like and continue to like. And, you know, Capitec really fits into that space. Another one that jumps to mind is something like Naspers. You've seen something like that done well. So I think that, you know, on the issue of these shares, I think it will be quite oversubscribed. And I think that it could offer even a short-term trading opportunity to make a bit of money. But, yeah, I'm still quite bullish on the company. I think they've proven themselves over the last 2 years. And, you know, I'd take a small stab on it. But just be cautious because it is quite expensive and fundamentals are quite full at the moment.
Coming back to the broader picture, a lot of money flowing into the US dollar. And obviously there's that risk aversion. I was speaking to Nemo Ramkilawan from Rand Merchant Bank, being heightened in the system. If we look at something like Anglo-American being caught up in this broad-based sell-off, it's down 3% today at 315 Rand. Is that a buying opportunity? I know you big these resource plays.
I think the movement in the dollar is quite key for a lot of these resource stocks. And the fact that you are seeing that movement into the dollar, that movement in the dollar generally acts as a leading indicator for a lot of these resource stocks. So the fact that we went through 132, 132.50 on the euro dollar says to me that we could actually potentially come down to about 130, even below that. So the correction that we're seeing at the moment is underway. How far it will take us, you know, we can only speculate at this point. But again, you know, I think that if Anglos does come back to 305, we've seen it test that 340 level. It tried quite hard to get through there. But if it does come back to 305, I think if you're a value investor, you can take a nibble under 310, between that 305, 310 level. And I think that the dollar strength could persist in the short term. But corrections happen very quickly. And when the market does start to trend back upwards, that trending environment happens slowly over time.
Joining us in the studio now is Johan Forster, the CEO of Clover. Johan, thank you very much for your time. Well, the listing date now announced for the 9th of December 2010, and the price is going to be between 9 and 12 Rand. Just to remind our viewers, you're looking to raise some 500 million Rand for CapEx. You're going to change your distribution legacy issues that you've had from a distribution perspective. Can you give us a little bit more color around where you are in the process right now and how investors are receiving your story?
We're actually quite advanced with our story, and I'm sorry to correct you, but it's the 14th of December.
14th of December.
The Tuesday. We have done extensive roadshows. The reception has been extremely positive. The book has already been piling up, and we're very excited about that. So the 14th of December, it's all systems go. We don't think that there's anything that's going to stop us. And of course, you know, we've already started with our expansion program ahead of the listing. So that'll be really nice to cover that.
Just looking at your margins for the financial year to date, going from 26.3% to 27.8%. Now with the changing of your model, the additional CapEx that you're going to put into the system, where can those gross margins go?
We're very excited about that. We think we can at least 1.5 to 2% on the gross profit at least. On the operating profit margin level as well, taking care of all these inefficiencies, carting the milk up over long distances. We see some upswing there, and I can't see that we can do any less than our peers doing at the moment. So, very excited.
Deryck, from your perspective, are you excited about the Clover listing?
It's definitely an exciting expansionary phase that they're going through at the moment. And yes, I do support them. I think, again, I'd like to see some of those margins come through in time to come through some fundamental analysis on it. But again, also, I mean, a question that I would tend to raise to Johan is, in terms of growth prospects, where do you see yourself growing? You formed yourself a nice base going forward. Are you looking to move beyond borders, through South African borders, and possibly beyond that? I mean, is that part of your strategy at all?
Our expansion program will last over 2 to 3 years because it's a fresh product that you do. But you must remember we've got 14,000 delivery points, by far the biggest till distributor in the country, and we've got a merchandiser in virtually every store. So the bolt-on effect that we can have now that we have access to capacity with other products that we can add to the Clover brand will almost create like a sucking effect right through the system. So we are very excited about the prospects in South Africa first. As I say, it must be complementary products. We are looking at areas in Africa. We're cautious in our approach with Africa because we have seen some serious pitfalls there. But remember, although we're 112 years old, we're actually an infant at this stage. The shackles have only been taken off in May this year when the farmers agreed to de-link the shares from the quota. So we don't even know where this thing can go to. Once we've expanded that capacity, all we know is we are envied by our competitors and other people to have access to this great asset. So the distribution and the merchandising, the sales, those are the key attributes that will drive our growth in the future.
I was wondering where I got that date from, and I see it is actually the final listing price will be announced on SENS on the 9th of December. Correct. You are going to be suspending trade in the over-the-counter trading on the 29th of November, that's correct?
That's today, so it has already been suspended, and it's split into two now. So the share price closed at 1950, and so as a consequence thereof, you've got a 975 currently at the moment with a net asset value of around 18 Rand a share.
And
Johan, is between 9 and 12 is the offer price.
I was just speaking to George Ferreira from Umvela Serve, and he's relieved to have this listing process behind him. I assume you are also looking forward to having the listing behind you so that you can get back into operations.
It is very destructive. It takes your focus away. But we have been a public company for the last 5 years, and we've followed all of those. We've got NOMCO and REMCOs and all of that, independent directors. So perhaps the transformation is much easier for us from a public company to a listed company. But certainly I will be enjoying my time in Ballito on the 15th of December, yes.
Johan, thank you very much, and good luck with that imminent listing on the 14th of December 2010. Johan Forster is the CEO of Clover. Deryck, just coming back to the broader market, do you think that we're going to see some of the sell-off that we are seeing today stemmed down the line when this is just initially a knee-jerk reaction?
I think yes. I mean, any panic that comes or filters into a system is going to give investors a run for the hills sort of strategy. So again, I come back to my point I made earlier, where when sell-offs do occur, they happen quick and sharp. Where as opposed to when a stock market finds a bit of traction, finds a bit of confidence in the economy, it tends to tick up slowly over time. So again, this has been a very welcome sell-off. I've been waiting for this market to find a reason to sell off. I think, yes, there's definitely still a lot of economic problems out there, a lot of risks in the system, but as long as authorities continue to print money and continue to throw money at the problem, then, stock markets don't have a reason to sell off to the point that we saw at the bottom, and so it takes out that effect of the potential of a bottom dip, a double dip correction. So I'm still quite bullish. I still think that this weakness could continue a little bit, but use the weakness as a buying opportunity again.
And just in terms of this week, any big news flow that you're waiting for on the local front?
I think just keep your eye on the NASPERS results. I think that's out tomorrow. I think just from a company perspective, that's really the only one that jumps to mind. Again, still very fundamental.
How do you feel about NASPERS before we go any further?
To be honest with you, if you've been holding the stock for quite some time, I'm talking 12 months plus, or that's even short term. If you've been holding it for 12 months plus, I would tend to think about doing some portfolio management and some possible rebalancing in it. I'm still quite bullish on the company, but I definitely think that over the last 12 months, you've seen some very strong performance in a lot of these retailers, industrials. We've had to deal with a very strong rand at the moment. And, at some point, you are going to see a bit of sector rotation out into those resources. But I think that I still like the company NASPERS, but I think that the run-up and that you've seen the run-up in the share price pushing towards 380, very fundamentally full, pricing in a lot of optimism. So there is a bit of potential of a bit of a correction in the price. But, yeah, I think if you've been in it, do some portfolio rebalancing, take some profits off the table.